कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम् वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति परां गतिम् यः पिबन् सततं रामचरितामृतसागरम् अतृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवाराशिं मशकीकृतराक्षसम् रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे नीलात्मजम् अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशं मक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूता रामसागरगामिनी पुनादिभुवनं पुण्या रामायणमहानदी वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदप्राचेतसादासीद् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना आपतामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः मङ्गलं कौसलेन्द्राय महनीय गुणाब्धये चक्रवर्ती तनुजाय सार्वभौमाय मङ्गलम् सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय कृतकार्योहम I'll accomplish always what I undertake. There is a statement in Tirukkural in Tamil. எண்ணி துணிக கர்மம் துணிந்தவன் எண்ணுவோம் என்பது இழுக்கு. Think before you do. After taking up a job or a work or a task, don't start thinking. Gurudev used to say that plan out your work, work out your plan. Thinking very carefully what needs to be done, how it is to be done, what are things required, how it can be accomplished, what will happen on the way if there is any impediment, all. Even in spite of all that, there can be things that can be there, unpredictable things will be there, especially it is said, when you do good things, when you are ready to do good things, more and more obstacles will come. Sukaryeshu vignam adhikam. In good deeds, there is always more obstacles. Because in bad deeds, we always compromise. ये नहीं तो कुछ और. in a thing which is negative, which you do not want the support of anybody else because you don't want to do it without anybody knowing it, you can always compromise. Compromise means you do this, or if it is not, they'll do that. But in good deeds, uncompromisingly take up something, uncompromisingly go ahead with that. Obstacles will come. That is when we really need the Bhagavan's grace, prayer, faith, confidence, everything. So he said that I will come back only with Sita, otherwise I'll bring entire Lanka with Ravana. Anayishyami vam Lankam samudpatya saravanam. Continuing, eva muktva tu Hanuman.
Eva muktva tu Hanuman.
Vanaro vanarottamah.
Vanaro vanarottamah.
Utpapatata vegena.
Utpapatata vegena.
Vegavan abhicharayan.
Vegavan vicharayan.
Suparnamiva chatmanam.
Suparnamiva chatmanam.
Menesa kapikunjaraha.
Menesa kapikunjaraha.
Samutpatati vegattu.
Samutpatati vegattu.
Vegate nagarohinaha.
Vegate nagarohinaha.
Samhritya vidapan sarvan.
Samhritya vitapan sarvan.
Mutpedu samantataha.
Samutpetu samantataha.
Samatta koyashtibakan.
Samatta koyapshti bhakan.
Padapan pushpashalinaha.
Padapan pushpashalinaha.
Udvahan nuruvegena.
Udvahan nurvegena.
Jagama vimalembare.
Jagama vimalembare.
Uruvegottita vrikshaha.
Uruvegottita vrikshaha.
Muhurtam kavimanvayuhu.
Muhurtam kapimanvayuhu.
Prastidam dirgamadvanam.
Prastitam dirghamadvanam.
Vabandhumiva pandavaha.
Vabandhumiva bandhavaha.
Tamuruvegonmatitaha.
Tamuruvegonmathitaha.
Kalaschanyena gautamaha.
Talaschanyena gotamaha.
Anujagmurhanumantam.
Anujagmurhanumantam.
Sainya iva mahipatim.
Sainya iva mahipatim.
Hanuman eva muktva vanarottamah. So, vanaraha vanarottamah. The king monkey, which is the best among all of them, Hanuman having said. Then, Utpapada, now he took off into the sky. Vegena, Vegavan avicharayan. Now, having thus decided what to do, having understood which direction to go, having also examined all the possible, various things that are possibly would come, but having prayed to one's own father, to all the elements, keeping a Bhagavan Rama and his purpose alone in mind, avicharayan. There is here avicharayan, not unthinking, not worrying anymore. When do we worry? When we are helpless. When we are helpless, we worry. When we are anxious, we worry. When we are concerned about something, we worry. When we are ready, when we probably lose something, we worry. But when we don't worry, when we know that anything that I gain or lose are temporary, and when I have full confidence, Bhagavan is going to be with me, then there is no worry. Bhagavan Krishna also says, everything is so temporary, coming and going, such that when you know that, a man of wisdom does not worry. Acharayan, Vegavan, with so much of speed. Suparnamiva, Atmanam Mene, Kapikunjaraha. The elephant among all the monkeys, Kapikunjaraha, one himself thought he's like Garuda. Suparnamiva, Cha Atmanam Mene. Vegat samutpadaditu vegatte nararohinaha samhritya vitapan sarvan samutpetu samantata. When he just took off with such a speed, vegat, those nagaroginaha, nage rohati idi vrukshaha, rohati grows, rohin, that which are those which are growing, rohinaha plural. The trees that were growing on the very mountain, samhritya vitapan, with along with their branches, all of them, sarvan samutpetuhu, they also started to fly off along with Hanuman. Because such is the power of the or power of that wind son of the wind. So such a one, samatta koyashti magan. So the cranes that were sitting there they are called lapwings. The cranes that are there, probably in the lake nearby. So which are there on the trees also, sitting there, they also started to fly along with that. Matta koyashti baga. Koyashti baga is the crane. So matta koyashti bagan, padapan pushpashalinaha, and also those trees with a lot of flowers, udvahan urvegena, by the power of the chest. By the power of the chest. So urvegena. So they also started to fly along with him. And as he moved there, up above there, uruvegena, urasna, uras is just, uru is the thighs. The entire body of the cranes along with these trees also, they also moved forward, Jagam Abhimalembare, into that sky. Uruvega uttita vrikshaha. The very thighs, because that is the thighs are considered as the pillar of the body. That physical pillar of the body, and that pillar of the body, when that has the maximum strength to hold the entire body. Entire upper portion of the body is held by the thighs. And that very strong thighs of Hanumanji, Uruvegottita vrikshaha muhurtam kabhimanyavan anvayuhu. For a short period of time, all those trees which are uprooted by the power of the movement of Hanumanji's very thigh, they started to fly along with him. And it looked like Prasthitam Dirgamandvanam Swabandhumiva Bandavaha. During the village people, if you have lived in a village, I remember when we were growing up, we used to go to a small village of my mother's grandfather's place in Kerala. And, everybody knows everybody there. Almost all the people in that a small village. And when we go there, live there for a month or so during summer, and we get used to all the people there, etc. And they also know every one of us, whatever is the family. And when we actually leave, half of the village will come to send us off. See, that is all not there in today's world, The joy of seeing so many people greeting you when you come, and sending you off when you go. Because most of them are relatives only. uncles and cousin brother, this and nephew, this, that. So, Bandavaha Swabandhumiva Dirgamadwanam Prastitam. When a person is taking a long journey, how the relatives will come to send you off. In the same way, when Hanumanji took off on the sky, all the trees followed him. Such a beautiful kind of simile here. Kapim Anvayuhu, they started to follow. Tamura Vegonmatita Salaha Cha Anye Nagottamaha, even other trees which were there, Uruvega Unmatitaha, being disturbed and agitated by the movement of the very Hanuman's thighs, then they all Anujagmuhu Hanumantam, they also followed all of them. And here is another example. Sainya Iba Mahipatim, how the soldiers of the retinue of a mighty king follow him wherever he would go. Like nowadays you have these ministers in India. The white ambassador car means some Mahapapi is coming, MP. So that when he comes, then there will be black cats. Protect him. Some 20 of them around him. One fellow, 20 of them. Why? Because he's such a criminal. People have to be protected from him. So therefore, there are people who are, like, see, if any nice person, when he goes also, any person of dignity, some president of a country or prime minister of a country, obviously there is a security protection. Security protection is for him from others. When the MPs come, there is also security protection. For whom? For the people from him. But here the king is going, and how the retinue follows. In the same way, all the trees have followed him for a while there. Continuing. Supushpitagrei bahubihi
Supushpitagrair bahubihi
Padabairanvidakapihi
Padapairanvita kapihi
Hanuman Parvatakagre
Hanuman Parvatakaro
Babhuvad Darshanah
Babhuvadbhuta darshanaha
Taravanto tate vriksha ye vrikshaha
Taravanto taye vrikshaha
Tvamajjan lavanambasi
Nyamajjan lavanambhasi
Nyamajjan Bayadiva Mahendrasya
Bhayadiva mahendrasya
Parvata Varunalaye
Parvata varunalaye
Anana Kusumai Kirnaha
Tanana kusumai kirnaha
Kabi Sankura Korakaihi
Kapisankura korakaihi
Shushube Mega Sankashaha
Shushubhe mega sankashaha
Patyotairiva Parvataha
Kadyotairiva parvataha
Vimuktastasya Vegena
Vimuktastasya vegena
Muktva Pushpani Te Drumaha
Muktva pushpani te drumaha
Vyavashiryanta Salile
Vyavashiryanta salile
Nivritta Sukruto Yata
Nivrutta suhrudo yatha
Lagutvenopapannam Tat
Tagutvenopapanam tad
Vichitram Sagare Patat
Vichitram sagare patat
Drumanam Vividam Pushpam
Drumanam vividam pushpam
Kabuvayu Samiritam
Kapivayu samiritam
Arachitamivakasham
Tarachitamivakasham
Ababau Samaharnavaha
Prabhabhau samaharnavaha
Supushpita Agraihi Padapaihi Anvitaha Kapi Bahubihi supushpitaihi. The trees that were very laden with lot of flowers, padapaihi, anvidaha, being followed, kapihi Hanuman, parvata akare, looked like a huge mountain, babuva, he became. Adbhuta darshana. They being followed by the flowers, he looked like a mountain, flying mountain, as though. Parvada varunalaye, it says. Mahendrasya parvadaha. So here, saravantaha, ataha, ye vrishtaha. Thus these very trees which are filled with flowers, vrikshaha. Then what they happened, these trees are, they started to sing. Saravantaha, they are very strong ones, no doubt. And think about it, wood will not sink into the water. But because of the force of the speed of Hanuman, Saravantaha ataha ye vrikshaha nyamajjan, they started to sink. Lavanambasi, in that salty water of the ocean. As Bayadiva Mahendrasya Parvataha Varunalave. And it is interesting. And this is looking like when it is said, a legendary story is that when once there was a particular mountain which had disturbed Indra or fought with Indra, then he became extremely upset. It is said that in the past, the mountains had wings. They used to fly. Mainaka Parvat, later on we'll see, they had wings. But then they became very arrogant, and then Indra had to fight with them, and then he cut off all the wings of all the Parvatas, mountains. So once when he was on a rage, when he was ready to fight with all the mountains, they all sunk into the water. In the same way, that's why he explained here, Bayadiva Mahendrasya, due to the fear of Indra, Parvataha Varunalaye, as though they, like the Parvataha mountains, how they sunk into the water. In the same way, the trees which are strong, out of fear, out of the power of the Hanuman, they all sunk into the water. Sa nana kusumaihi kirnaha. Thus, Hanumanji, in his whole body filled with flowers, coming out of those trees, kapihi sankura karakaihi, along with the branches as well as the buds from those trees, Sushubhe Mega Sankashaha. He looked like that of a cloud filled Kadyoteiriva Parvataha. Mega Sankashaha, like a mountain, he appeared, like Parvata is filled with Katyota, like the filled with the fireflies. And Mega Sankasha, looking like like a cloud beautifully flying on the sky, and he looked like that of these Parvata is filled with a lot of fireflies around. In the night you can see all of them blinking. Nowadays where Katyodas are not available, only buildings and buildings and buildings everywhere. Sanana kusumaihi Vimuktaha tasya vegena muktva pushpani cha tedrumaha. Those all the trees which are now devoid of all the flowers, vimuktaha pushpani, vimuktaha tasya vegena, and also they become very light because there are no more branches and leaves and flowers. Vivashiryante salile. They have been thrown onto the water, like what? Nivruttaha sukruto yata. Like when a person has already gone to wherever he is going, all those relatives who came to see him off, how they get dispersed and then go away into their own homes, go into their homes. In the same way, all the flowers gone, all the branches gone, the trees were also falling onto the water. Lagutvenopapanam tat vichitram sagare apatat. All of them having lost their heavy weight, lagutvena, very lightly, upapannam tat vichitram sagare apatat. They all fell on this water. Drumanam vividam pushpam kabivayu samiritam. All the various flowers which were are kabivayu samiritam, because of the wind, the air that is created by the Hanuman on his flight. Tarachitamiva akasham prabhavo samaharnamaharnamaha. Just like the very sky is filled with so many different different stars, Tarachita collected various clusters of stars. Iva akasham, how the sky will shine. In the same way, prabhava samaharnamaharnamaha. The very water is filled with so many different flowers. Such is the beautiful description of the taking off of Hanuman. Continuing here, pushpaugena sugandhena
पुष्पौघेन सुगन्धेन
nana varnena vanaraha
नानावर्णेन वानरः
babo mega ivodyantvai
बभौ मेघ इवोद्यन्वै
vidyudgana vibhushitaha
विद्युद्गणविभूषितः
tasya vega samudbhutaihi
तस्य वेगसमुद्भूतैः
पुष्पैस्तोयम idrishyata
पुष्पैस्तोयमदृश्यत
ताराभिरिव रामाभिः
ताराभिरिव रामाभिः
उदिताभिरभि इवाम्बरम्
रुदिताभिरिवाम्बरम्
Sarga there. तस्याम्बरगतौ बाहु
तस्याम्बरगतौ बाहु
ददृशादे प्रसारितौ
तदृशा ते प्रसारितौ
पर्वताग्राद् विनिष्क्रान्तौ
पर्वताग्राद्विनिष्क्रान्तौ
पञ्चास्याविव पन्नगौ
पञ्चास्याविव पन्नगौ
पिबन्निव बभौ चापि
पिबन्निव बभौ चापि
सोर्मिजालं महार्णवम्
तूर्मिजालं महार्णवम्
पिपासुरिव चाकाशम्
पिपातुरिव चाकाशम्
तदृशो स महाकपिः
ददृशे स महाकपिः
कस्य विद्युत्प्रभाकारे
तस्य विद्युत्प्रभाकारे
वायुमार्गानुसारिणः
वायुमार्गानुसारिणः
नयने विप्रकाशेते
नयने विप्रकाशेते
विवानलौ
पर्वतस्ताविवानलौ
पिङ्गे पिङ्गाक्षमुख्यस्य
पिङ्गे पिङ्गाक्षमुख्यस्य
विहति परिमण्डले
बृहति परिमण्डले
चक्षुषी सम्प्रकाशेते
चक्षुषी सम्प्रकाशेते
चन्द्रसूर्याविवस्थितौ
चन्द्रसूर्याविवस्थितौ
मुखं नासिकया तस्य
मुखं नासिकया तस्य
ताम्रया ताम्रमा बभौ
ताम्रया ताम्रमा बभौ
सन्ध्यया समभिस्तुष्टं
सन्ध्यया समभिस्पृष्टम्
यथा स्यात् सूर्यमण्डलम्
यथा स्यात् सूर्यमण्डलम्
Sugandhena pushpa augena, with such a fragrant flowers, nana varnena, with various colors, vanaraha mega eva udyan babau. So the very Hanuman looked like that of a mega eva, like a cloud. What? Vidyut gana vibhushitaha megaha iva. Vidyut gana vibhushitaha. A cloud which is filled with varieties of various electrocuted lightning, how it will look. Vidyut gana vibhushitaha mega eva bhavau vanaraha udyan, as he was pushing himself up into the sky. Tasya vega samudgatai mahamudbhutaihi pushpaihi toyam adrishyata. Pushpais toyam adrishyata. So, very movement of that very monkey, which had created all the various flowers to thrown here and there, it's like a wave of flowers. In the wave of flowers, Tarabiriva Ramabihi Uditabihi Ambaran. Ambaram, the sky which is filled with various stars, especially when you go to a place which is far away from the city. City lights should not be there. In the middle of the night, if you wake up and then look at the sky, how wonderful is the creation. All the clusters and clusters of stars, brilliant, bright, shining stars. How they are, just think about it. How vast is the creation? How beautiful is this entire universe? When you look at the sky, you see the limitlessness of everything. And how the flower, like that, the flowers have been strewn here and there, thrown here and there. Tasya ambaragato bahu tadrushade prasaritau. The very hands that were extended by ambaragato on the sky by Hanumanji. So it will look like Parvadagrad Vinishkrante Panchasyau Vibapannagau. So Parvata Agrad, it looked like that of the two hands. These two hands look like that of huge snake, two of them, with their five hoods. Now, when he's going like this, with his hand like this, it looked like two huge snakes that having five hoods are extending from the Parvata. Parvadagrad Vinishkrantaha Panchasyo, five hood, Iva Pannagau, two of them. And as he was going, Pipanniva Babau Chapi Maharnavam, Sa Urmijalam Maharnavam, the very ocean which had so many waves, huge waves, as though he is going to swallow them. Pipanniva Babau Chapi, so Urmimala Maharnavam, Pipasuriva Akasham, and also wishing to drink up the entire ocean. Entire Akasha, sorry. As he having Pipanniva Akasham, Pipanniva Urmijalam, as though drinking the entire ocean, and also wishing to swallow the entire space. Pipasurivacha Akasham Dadurshe Samaha Kapihi. Tasya Vidyutta Prabhakare Vayumarga Anusarinaha Nayane Viprakashete Parvadastata Vivanalau. Parvadastau Iva Analau. These very eyes that are of the Hanuman, Tasya Vidyut Prabhakara. His eyes were looking like that of the lightning there. Vayumarga Anusarinaha, the one who is now flying in the sky. Nayane, these two of them, Nayane, dual number. Nayana, Nayanam, Nayane, Nayanani. Nayanam is neutral. Therefore, Nayanam, Nayane, Nayanani. Phalam phale phalani. So, Viprakashete, they are brightly shining. Like what? Parvadastau Iva ina analau. Like that of the fire that is found in the mountains. Such is the very powerful eyes he has. Further, he says there in the next verse very clearly. I am not crying. My eyes are not like that of, is not as bright as Hanumanji there. Pinge pingaksha mukyasya. An interesting thing is, Pinge pungaksha mukyasya brihati parimandale, his red nose which are red like a copper, Pinge pingaksha mukyasya. And one who has also pinga aksha mukya. So his eyes are also like the copper, bright copper. Brihati parimandale chakshushi samprakashete. These two, chakshushi, these eyes were appearing like samprakashete. Chandra surya iva stito, like the sun and the moon. Like the sun and the moon, they are like, when you see in a summer day, summer evening, even the sun looks like a red copper bright one. Similarly, when the sunrise also, it will look at red copper plate. And moon also, sometimes when it is filled with some amount of dust on the sky, it will look like copper. And mukam, here the mukam nasikaya tasya tamraya tamro bhavo tamravarna. Again, of this name of his nose, nasikaya tasya tamraya tamro above. So his nostrils also, which is all him, it's like of the color of the tamra. It is like what? Sandhyaya samabhisprishtam yata syat suryamandalam. Abhisprishtam suryamandalam. Which is a evening time when it is about to settle down, how the Surya Mandala will appear in that way. He says, due to his coppery nose, his countenance looked red as the solar or embraced by dusk. The time of Sandhya Kala. So, Sandhyaya, continuing, Langulam cha Samavidham
Langulam cha samavidham
Plavamanasya shobhate
Plavamanasya shobhate
Ambare Vayuputrasya
Ambare Vayuputrasya
Chakradvaja ivochitam
Shakradvaja ivochitam
Langula chakro Hanuman
Langula chakro Hanuman
Shukladram stro nilatmajah
Shukladamstro nilatmajah
Yarochata mahaprajnah
Yarochata mahaprajnah
Pariveshiva bhaskarah
Pariveshiva bhaskarah
Svigdeshanaditamrena
Vigdeshenatitamrena
Rarajasamaha kavihi
Rarajata mahakapihi
Mahata dariteneva
Mahata darite neva
Girikaurikadhatuna
Girirgairika dhatuna
Tasyavanarasimhasya
Tasyavanarasimhasya
Pavamanasya sagaram
Plavamanasya sagaram
Kakshantaragato vayuhu
Kakshantaragato vayuhu
Jimuta iva garjati
Jimuta iva garjati
Keyata nipatastyulkaha
Keyata nipatal tyulkaha
Uttarantat vinisruta
Uttarantad vinitruta
Drishyate sanubandha
Drishyate sanubandha cha
Tadasa kapi kunjaraha
Tatasa kapi kunjaraha
Padatpadanga sankasho
Patat patanga sankasho
Vyayata shushubhe kavihi
Vyayata shushubhe kapihi
Pravruddha iva matangaha
Pravruddha iva matangaha
Lakshaya bandhyamanaya
Kakshaya bandhyamanaya
Uparishtascharirena
Uparishtascharirena
Hyayaya cha vaghadaya
च्यायया चावगाढया.
Agare Marutavishta
सागरे मारुताविष्टा.
Nauri Vasi Tada Kapihi
नौरीवासीत् तदा कपिः.
Yam Yam Desham Samudrasya
यं यं देशं समुद्रस्य
Yagama Samaha Kapihi
जगामसमः कपिः.
Satutasyanga Vegena
तत् तस्याङ्गवेगेन
Onmada Iva Lakshyate
तून्मादैव लक्ष्यते.
Langula Chakraha, the very circle, the round created by his own tail, Hanuman, Shukla Damstro Anilatmajaha. Anilatmajaha Vayuputraha, the son of the wind, Hanuman, Shukla Damstraha, who has the white teeth. Shukla Damstraha. Vyarochata, he shone. Mahaprajnaha, the brilliantly, he is brilliant. Pariveshi iva bhaskaraha. Like that of the sun which has a halo on it. How bright would be the sun? They cannot directly see the sun, and sun which is a halo around him. In the same way, the bright teeth of Hanuman with his orb, it's like his own tail has made an orb. That's the beauty of the description. The tail has made a circle around him, and in that, the bright teeth of the Hanuman, it appears like the sun with a solar orb. Hello. And Langulam cha samaviddam plavamanasya shobhate. Thus he, one which is flying along with his own long tail, Vambare Vayuputrasya Shakradvaja Iva Uchritam. So that very tail of his, he is flying, it fluttered like that of the flag of Indra. Shakradvaja Iva Uchritam, well mounted. Sfigda Desha Stekshena Adittamrena. His buttocks behind, which is of the copper color, as though Signa Desha Adittamrena Rarajasa Mahakavi, it also became so bright. Obviously, it's not, he's after all a monkey. So you can see that he had a powerful base. Mahata Daritene Iva Giri Gaurika Dhatuna. It looked like two mountains filled with various kinds of minerals with a split in between. Daritena Iva. Dru is to split. Darita. Dru Dharati. So Dharitena Iva. Dru Dharati. Dru Dirga. Dru. So there. Tasya Vanarasimhasya Plavamanasya Sagaram. That the one who is now leaping, Vanarasimhasya, the lion among all the monkeys, Kakshantara Gado Vayuhu. When he was flying like this with his extended hand, the air that is flowing through his Kaksha. Kaksha is Jimuta Iva Garjati. It is making the sound that of a cloud laden with a lot of water. A cloud is called Jimuta. It's very interesting. Ji means surpassing. Muta means you can say sprinkling, as well as it's like a throwing like a stream. Throwing like steam. So this is Muta is usually used for urinating. So Chimuta means one who is obviously the clouds are what? If you very negative way of saying all the clouds are now urinating rainwater. You can say that. So they are called Jimuta. So Jimuta eva garjati, and like how the clouds are laden with so much of water, how they make such a thunder. It is said that today, tomorrow or so, very, very naturally, uniquely, this Southern California is going to have thunderstorm. So wait for it. Then you say, oh, G-Mood has come here. Thunderstorm. They are expecting it's going to rain either Friday, Saturday or Saturday, Sunday. So now you can hear. Remember when we had in that portion of Kishkinda Kand, when we had the place, how the description of the forest when it was taking place, they were explaining about the clouds, thundering cloud. So we had at that time, exactly on that particular day, we had such a cloud and thunder and rain. It's very interesting. So in the same way, you can expect tomorrow or so, G-Moda. Ke yata nipatat ulka uttarandat vinisruta. You know, our ancients have understood the kind of metals that are coming from outer space because of some disturbances in the outer space. Some of the huge rocks from some other planet or so will appear and come down into the earth. They are called meteors. Not all of them come down into because as soon as they enter the atmosphere, they all get destroyed because of the power of the atmosphere of the earth. They cannot enter. They will get distracted into small dust. So therefore, it is said that as soon as you go outside the atmosphere of the earth, there's a lot of dust everywhere because all the meteors come and hit and they become into pieces, into various. So it's called space dust. But if at all they escape that and come down, it is said those kind of meteors are extremely unique. In Delhi, when you see the pillar, Ashoka pillar, it is said to be made out of one of those such meteors. It never gets rusted at all. So it has been there for 2000 years. They had the technology at that time to mold that meteor to make that huge the Ashoka pillar. So the meteor that is entered into the Nipatati Ulka Uttarantat from the northern side, Drishyate sa Anubandacha Tata sa Kapikunjaraha. So the tail of the Hanumanji, it looked like that of the meteor that has been coming from the northern side. How powerful that is! It appeared like that. So, and Bhakshaksha Kadrishyate Sanubandha. Sanubandha is the tail there. Tada chas Kapikunjara. Patatya Patanga Sankashaha. Patanga Sangashaha. Patat means that which falls. What falls? Patanga. Patanga, one can say, is a firefly, but here it means sitting down. The sun which is coming down. So that very sun, Patat Patanga Sankasha, equal to that of the settling sun, Vyayataha, extending completely. Vyayata, extending, how it extends its powers throughout the sky. Sushubhe kapihi prabuddha iva matangaha kakshaya bandyamanaya. He looked like that of the prabuddha iva matangaha, like the elephant which is tied up in the waist, kakshaya bandyamanaya. So how the tail, how the elephant which is tied up by the a strong rope, how does it appear? In the same way, the tail of Hanumanji, as though going around him, like the sun, which is like a rising sun, Padatyapada Sankasha, equal to that. Yam yam desham samudrasya jagama mahakabiki. Wherever, whichever part of the ocean where the Hanumanji passed by, Sadutasya angavegena, by his own physical body's force, so unmada eva kakshate, he started to agitate that entire area of that ocean because of his very movement of into above the sky. Sagarasyormi malanam.
सागरस्योर्मिजालानां
Urasa Shaila Sulaba Urasa Shaila Varshmanam
पुरसा शैलवर्ष्मणाम्
Abhignamstu Mahavegaha
अभिघ्नस्तु महावेगः
Plave Samaha Kapihi
पुप्लुवे स महाकपिः
Kabivadascha Balavan
कपिवातश्च बलवान्
Megavadascha Nirgataha
मेघवातश्च निर्गतः
Sagaram Bhima Nirhradam
सागरं भीमनिर्ह्रादम्
Kampayamasa Durbrasham.
कम्पयामास तुर्भृशम्.
Stop there. 70. Sagarasya urmi jalanam of the various waves of that very ocean. Urasa by his very chest. Shaila Varshmanam. Urasa. Shaila Varshmanam. So the very Shaila. Shaila Varshmana. Okay. So the very what is the Shaila Varshman? Varshman is the Shaila Varshman is the rock. I think the rocky portion of this. Let us see here what he translated it. Varshman. What is the verse number 69 there? It's a mountain only. Yes, Shaila Varshman, the best among the Shailas. Sharman. Okay. Varshmanam. So, just like the ocean waves hit the very mountain, very huge mountain that is standing there, in the same way, the chest of the Hanuman, which is like that of the rock, Abhignastu Mahavegaha Pabluve Mahakavihi. So, such is the chest of the Hanuman, which is like that of the huge mountain that is found in the middle of the water. How they come and hit him. So, actually, he is going in such a speed, and as though the mountain is flying, and in which the waves are hitting on his chest. And Kapivadascha Balavan Megavadascha Nirgataha. So the best among the Kapivadascha Balavan, the strong Kapi, wind, being the wind god's son, Megavadascha Nirgataha, and Megavadascha Nirgataha Sagaram Bhima Nirhradam Kampamayasatuhu Brusham. He is agitating the very ocean there continuously, and the interspace, that is what is called Nirhradam. Nirhradam, as though he is pulling the interspace, that means between the earth or the water and the heaven, it is said to be the place called interspace, as though he is Publuve. It's trying to pull all of that. As he was proceeding on, Sagarasya Kapivadascha Balavan Megavadascha Nirgataha. So, with such a speed of that of the clouds and Sagaram. See, we may think the clouds are stationary. It look like clouds are stationary, but when we look at it, but actually they are going in such a speed. When you are in the flight, you will come to realize so many clouds are up suspended on the sky, right? And they are actually, if they are they are just stationary, then you will see them fast. What speed the flight is going. Think about it. 100, 200, 300, 500, sometimes 800 miles speed in which the flight is running. The clouds are as though stationary. Actually, they are not. They are actually moving in almost the same speed. Not as fast as the flight, but they are also moving. We will not be able to see because our speed, relative speed, because of which you are not able to see it. So in the same way, Megava, so these are also the wind of the clouds also, Sagaram Bhima Nirhradam. So they are also like that of pulling the interspace. Kampayamasa, Masatuhu, Brusham Kampayamasa. He started to agitate even the interspace, and that way he moved there. We'll stop there. Akanita Gunagana Bhushana Rama, Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama, Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama, Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama, Dasharatha Nandana Sri Rama, Dashamukhamardana Jaya Jaya Rama, Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama, Kamita Palada Jaya Jaya Rama, Papa Vimochana Sri Rama, Pattabhirama Jaya Jaya Rama, Janaki Jivana Sita Rama, Jaya Raghurama Jaya Siya Rama, Vanara Sevita Sri Rama, Varidhi Vandana Jaya Jaya Rama, Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama, Jaya Raghurama Jaya Siya Rama, Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama, Patita Pavana Sita Rama, Sri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Sri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Siyavara Ramachandra ki jai, Pavana Sutta Hanuman ki jai, Umapati Mahadev ki jai, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।